awesome. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi, Frank.
Hello, David.
There we go. Names are out of the way. This is our first podcast. We made a podcast.
We made it. We did it. It's done did.
Here it is.
Or at least we're starting.
We might start over. We'll find out very soon.
Yeah, only time will tell.
We're just going to talk about kind of random things, different, pop culture. Maybe we'll get into some politics. Spoiler alert. Who knows? Some
guided tangents, if you will.
Oh, definitely. Even misguided tangents, even.
My favorite.
Yeah. So today, something I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit. You know, there's definitely just a resurgence of, reboots in Hollywood and beyond. And the 80s kind of got, thrashed real good, as they say. Which is pretty much me. But, it seems like that's kind of coming down to it a little bit. And it's slowing down. You know, you did G.I. Joe. You did Transformers, Ninja Turtles. You're kind of running out of hot 80s properties. So what's next? The good old 1990s.
I understand we realized right before we started recording that they've already hit the 90s a little bit.
Yeah.
But we already had this idea. We were to put a little bit of work into it, so we're just going to power on right through.
The way I think about it, if you put a minimal amount of work into something, you might as well just do it.
Most things I don't even put work into, and I just, float right through them, so I don't see why we should do this any different.
That's really the way to go. If you don't mind, Frank, I got a couple of these things that have already happened. Some of them were surprising. Some just kind of didn't even occur to me already, but here's some stuff from the 90s that has been rebooted or sequelized after a long period of time.
Hit me with it.
Fight Club. There's a second Fight Club.
What?
In a comic book series, actually written by Chuck Palahniuk, the author. He wrote a sequel to the Fight Club, but as a comic book. And, who knows if we'll see a movie of it or something eventually, but definitely a little bit out of the ordinary. Seems like a movie that doesn't really need a sequel or any kind of follow-up, kind of self-contained story. Trainspotting, which is coming out like in a month.
Oh, I'm so excited for that.
I'm actually really excited for Trainspotting.
I think it's such a good idea for a reboot because those are characters you want to see 20 years down the line.
Yeah, and what's cool is it's not a reboot. It's a straight up sequel, and it's like in the time zone of the movie. That's really awesome.
So, oh my God, so excited.
Kind of the same take, but maybe not awesome. Independence Day, that came out a little while ago.
Not great.
I didn't watch it. To be honest, the first Independence Day is not that great.
It was very much, you remember Independence Day?
Yeah. It's 4th of July, right?
Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Whatever happened that day.
Probably a more popular one, Jurassic Park.
I dug me some Jurassic Park.
Jurassic World was pretty cool. It wasn't the worst thing ever.
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. You can't go too bad with dinosaurs, right? Very, very recently, we have Beauty and the Beast. Kind of catastrophic. Oh, sorry. Speaking of Beauty and the Beast.
Catastrophic, we got Booyo, David's terrible, terrible cat, climbing up onto the table right now.
She's both Beauty and the Beast.
Looking to wreck some stuff.
Definitely. She's like, oh, you guys are up to something? Let me mess this up. Cat style. Kind of a bad movie. I mean, I didn't watch it. I just assumed it was going to be bad, and I read it was really bad. Point Break. They remade Point Break.
Vaya con Dios.
That one seems totally unnecessary. And then a couple. Let me just rapid fire a couple of these. Boy Meets World. Had Girl Meets World. Super lackluster.
Yeah, we watched that one together.
Yeah,
not great.
Not good. And the messaging is just all over the place.
Oh yeah, some super not positive messages going on through that thing. All.
Especially and neither of us are parents. But I think we both kind of we've been around kids, not in a weird way.
The niños.
But in a raising way and kind of like a supervisional role. Some of the messages for little girls in that series are not good.
Very, I don't know, raise a lot of concerns on what Disney Channel is trying to put into kids' heads. But then again, I'm not a Disney guy.
Yeah. And if you think about Disney Channel, let's just go right out of the gate and just really attack someone directly. Disney's always kind of had iffy messages for females. It's always been they need a secondary role.
And, minorities.
Yeah.
Pretty much non-white.
Jewish people. Sorry. Then we have Fuller House, which apparently was also terrible. Jumanji's coming out soon with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Ugh.
Why don't they get Robin Williams again?
Too soon.
I think not.
Yeah, too soon. Power Rangers came out really recently. I know you were excited about that.
I still need to go see it. I don't know. I'm just messing around, but I'm still very excited.
I mean, I won't even Redbox it. I don't use Redbox. I'll wait till it's on Netflix. I'll probably watch it. Full free. Well, for
the price of a monthly subscription.
$11.99 a month or whatever it is. Then we have Powerpuff Girls, which came back, cartoon. They're kind of getting into cartoons right now.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, the art style is really different. That's already on air. They just showed a trailer for DuckTales. Also, totally different art style. Kind of like some people getting a little upset about it. They're like, no, they're changing my childhood. But it's like, well, this is for children. You're not a child.
Interessante.
I mean, obviously, it's going to be a little bit different. And then a couple, some I know that you're going to be interested in. They're rebooting Hey Arnold.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, the first mic clip of the series was on Hey Arnold.
Yeah. I was going to try not to clip, but I'm a little, we'll see where that goes.
Okay, one more for you. Rocko's Modern Life.
Interesting.
Indeed. Yeah. So those both are getting a reboot soon. It's supposed to be like in the next couple of years. Legend of the Hidden Temple.
My goodness.
Yeah, I know, right?
My goodness. I need to pay more attention to the internet. I'll just keep living my life the way I am right now.
I literally just Googled this stuff right before we started this because I didn't want to seem like totally unresearched. And then
I
lastly,
believe we'll both come across in different lights.
Well, I mean, you got to have a little yin and yang. And speaking of yin and yang, Ren and Stimpy also getting rebooted. So parents will be upset all over again.
I'm down for upset parents.
I'm down too. Why not? So, I think I've kind of stolen the microphone here long enough. Would you wanna start this list off, Frank? Because we're talking about things that are things from the 90s that we think would be a good reboot, would be reboot worthy,
or at least that I personally would like to see. We'll see how successful they are, but I've got a few things jotted down on my notepad here. Went analog and put it on a paper notebook. I
also went analog with this thing. I recorded it on vinyl, and I'm going to play it back.
Interesting.
Over the
I'm
microphone.
Very excited to see how that came out.
Did you want to trade this over, or how would you do this? You want to go
I'm down.
through?
I'll take the lead on this one. I was letting you go a little bit.
Get in it.
Being a goon, jumping in with my nonsense. But I'll start it off with, Real Monsters is my first on my reboot list. It was one of my favorite cartoons growing up. Nice and gritty. Real gross. Got little monsters learning how to scare kids and not to give themselves green power or whatever was going on in Monsters Inc. just for the sake of scaring,
I'm going to be honest. I haven't seen Monsters Inc. This goes back to the Disney thing from earlier.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not a Disney guy, but even I've seen Monsters Inc.
My
Beautiful.
Bad.
Oh, my goodness.
It's funny that you say that because Michelle, I was asking her before this thing, hey, what should I do for 90s reboots? That was the first thing she said, Real Monsters, which...
Ooh.
Good choice.
Oh, yeah. It's a solid cartoon. I've spent many an hours watching some Real Monsters at my grandmother's house on Sundays.
You mean, Real Monsters.
Well,
I think
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I meant.
Anyways.
My enthusiasm for life has died slowly over the last couple of months. Let's see. So, that's the first on my 90s reboot wish list. For my second on my 90s reboot wish list, I kind of piggyback to because I feel like they both fall into the same genre a little bit. And this one I do know the first on this second pick, American Gladiators. They did do a reboot in the early 2000s. I didn't see it, so I'm not counting that.
Fair enough.
But yeah, American Gladiators / Legends of the Hidden Temple, which I just found out they are bringing back, so some wishes do come true.
So we're seeing live in action the benefit of doing minimal research before recording something. Anyways.
It's a beautiful thing. It really is. Always wanted to be on Legends of the Hidden Temple. Not allowed to now because it's for children.
It's also not around anymore.
Yeah, so that's a thing. And I also feel like with American Gladiators, they shouldn't do physically fit people, but just your average American, fat people. I feel like that'd be awesome to watch fat people get pounded by tennis balls and stuff.
So kind of mixing like Japanese Ninja Warrior with American Gladiator.
A definite air of humiliation going on. That's something I love to see, just people failing. I love it so much. This one, the last on my list, is super heartfelt. I love this series. Felt like I cheated a little bit because it started off in like 84, 86, but it didn't end till like 1993, so sue me. Cheers. I would
Cheers.
love me a Cheers reboot.
Isn't Frasier sort of a Cheers sequel? Well, it's not a reboot.
No,
I guess.
it's a spin-off, you
It's
know
a
what I mean?
spin-off, yeah,
they just
definitely,
take
definitely.
and they don't even take it all the way, because if it is a direct spin-off, Frasier's not paying attention to that kid or that ex-wife at all. He just totally abandoned them, just forgot they existed.
So would a Cheers reboot basically be How I Met Your Mother without Ted Mosby?
Yeah, but a little bit. Pretty much, yeah. I guess a lot of How I Met Your Mother takes place in a bar.
Yeah.
But it would revolve mainly around the bar and the alcoholics that are there every second of every day. And
Nice,
I feel like they don't talk about it enough in Cheers, but they do jab a little bit that they all have a drinking problem. Every single person in Cheers, except for Sam Malone, because he beat his drinking problem. Yes.
Excellent point. Yeah. Like It's Always Sunny, but with more realistic bounds, I guess.
Yes,
Sunny's
with
gotten
less
crazy.
terrible people and
Yeah.
just your average run-of-the-mill alcoholic.
Alcoholics, yeah. Good old heart of America.
Mm-hmm.
That's a solid list, Frank. I feel intimidated to share mine.
Bow before me.
Okay, well, the first one, and hopefully I get your agreement on here. I know this is a movie that's near to both of our hearts. I think Con Air is in prime real estate for a good reboot.
Yes, I would love to see me some more Con Air. I mean,
Right?
yeah, I might go home and watch Con Air when we're done with this.
And I'm thinking it could be two ways. You could either, do like a somewhat sequel where, what's the name of that actor? John Cusack is like just older and still a cop, and maybe gets in another similar circumstance, and maybe
It's just like, man, we gotta start being more careful with these convicts on airplanes. Like, what is the deal?
it's definitely a bad scenario to put that many convicts on an air. But I mean, I guess it has to happen.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Here's how I would do it, though. Here's what I think might be an improvement on the movie. Recast Nicolas Cage in the reboot, and now that he's insane, have him play John Malkovich's character.
Ooh. Or
Yeah.
even Steve Buscemi's.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I always forget Steve Buscemi's in that movie.
Oh, how could you? He's so creepy and
So creepy.
beautifully creepy.
He always gets typecasted as the creepy dude, but that is
Well, what are
like
you gonna do
the
when you
creepy
look like that?
Yeah, that's true.
But you
That's
know
true.
what? He didn't kill that little girl, which I was always really proud of Steve Buscemi's character for. You know what I mean? Because he's sitting down having tea with her, and I'm like, oh my god, this girl's toast. This girl's gone.
I mean, do they ever show her at the end of the movie though? Is it possible?
Yeah, she's like waving at the plane as they fly away.
That's right. Yeah. That's probably like the closest thing to a character arc that's in that movie.
Yeah.
Is Steve Buscemi somewhat overcoming his craziness? Interesting. Okay. Very cool. Well, my second one, and this is definitely cheating. It's not really a reboot, but kind of like a wave. I put Nirvana, the band Nirvana, and here's like my explanation behind it. Nirvana is really from the 80s, the first album anyways. Nevermind, though, like the one that's popular, is from the 90s, 91. Good year, 1991. But
nothing good happened that year, David.
Yeah, I mean, couple good things happened.
Nothing.
Ah,
I'm
okay.
including your birth.
Well, your birth too? Or, no, you're
I
90.
was born in '90s. Suck it.
Get out of here. Anyways, for Nirvana, what I kind of mean with this is like hair metal was super lame, at least in my opinion. It was
Ooh.
totally lame.
Yeah.
And Nirvana and all these grunge bands in the 90s were kind of like the end of one era, kind of coming into another era.
Okay.
Rock
Solid
music
point.
now, at least mainstream rock music, also awful, like the 80s. And I'm really we need like grittier, kind of like angrier rock to be the main thing. Because Nirvana, Nevermind, overtook Michael Jackson on the pop charts. It wasn't like, just some people were listening to it. It was like a big deal.
Okay.
I mean, you can have your opinions about Pearl Jam or whatever. I know you don't like Pearl Jam.
Not down.
But, I think you could just really kind of have like a new wave of rock music. Something that, because for me personally, I grew up listening to rock music and now totally uninterested in it. I don't want to listen to it at all. It's all like,
And I'm
very
sure you're talking
commercialized.
about mainstream rock. I listen to a lot of angsty stuff, but I
Yeah.
am a metalhead. I'm into the hardcore stuff, a lot of the like indie screamo kind of deals and stuff.
Indie
But
screamo.
yeah, you're talking about like stuff being played on the radio, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and maybe I'm looking at it with like rose-tinted glasses or something, because I'm sure there was people at the time who didn't like what was on the radio.
Because we're old now.
Well, I mean, you didn't have to say that, but I guess that's true.
I feel it every day.
To make you feel older, and this has always made me feel old. If you think about it, seniors that are graduating this year from high school were born in the year 2000.
Oh my goodness.
Let that sink in a little bit.
Oh my goodness. I need to like write a will.
Yeah.
See if I start paying into a 401k.
Yeah. You need to go get definitely a life insurance policy.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
It's
It's honestly surprising I haven't gotten one yet. I'm surprised I've made it this far.
Yeah, you're broken, Frank. It's only a matter of time until your body just gives out on you.
Broken physically and spiritually.
Not mentally yet, but we'll give it a couple more years.
Oh, I'm cracking every day.
That's kind of my hope, though. I really want to see mainstream music. At least we get to a point where it's like they sound different. I feel like now you can listen to country, you can listen to pop, you can listen to rock, anything top 40, and it's interchangeable. If you change the instrumentation, it would all sound the same. You know what I mean? It's all just super overprocessed.
It's very poppy now.
It's all poppy.
Yeah.
All of it's poppy. Country's lame. I mean, I know you're not a country fan, but 90s country, it was going on. It had an identity at least. Anyways.
Just to interject really quick, just because you brought it into my head, you know how I hit up Poppy the other night on Instagram? Still have not heard back. Still have not heard back from I Am Poppy. So,
I Am Poppy.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
She
did not respond to my, hey, girl.
Somehow I'm not surprised.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. Just so you know, if we have even one listener, so you can understand what's going on here. Poppy is a YouTube celebrity, I guess, and she's just strange. Google I Am Poppy.
Strange.
If you want to get your weird on, that's what you need to watch.
Love getting my weird on.
She has these kind of strange, like David Lynch style videos.
Yeah, unsettling. Unsettling is a perfect word for it.
Very unsettling,
which I admire.
I mean, me too. Anyone who can evoke that emotion, they're working hard.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
She's also a pop singer too. A poppy pop singer, but lame pun. But Frank sent her an Instagram DM. Is that what? Is that?
Yeah,
what
I
it's
slid
called?
in a DM on her Instagram
DM?
account.
Okay. I'm not surprised she didn't respond, but hey, it's only been a couple days.
Hey, I figured if
happen.
it's gonna be, if any celebrity's gonna respond to my DM, it might as well be the weird one. You know what I mean?
That makes sense to me.
I guess she wasn't as weird as I thought she was.
A super qualifying remark, I think. I got one more on my list of things that should be rebooted from the 90s.
Suck it to me.
Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
And then we can just burn all the other copies and erase the other one from history.
Yeah, just like George
Lucas.
Lucas.
Less of a reboot and more of a redo.
Yeah, just like George Lucas in the holiday special where he's just going to conventions and smashing them.
Yeah.
Star Wars Episode 1, 1999, barely 90s.
I'll count it.
As far as I'm concerned, the whole prequel trilogy can be redone. The way I think about it, Force Awakens, pretty much a soft reboot of Episode 4.
Yeah.
Not necessary, but it was still a cool movie. I still enjoyed it as a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, we paid some money to see that.
We paid some money to see it,
yeah.
and I bought it. I haven't watched it a second time, to be honest, but I'm gonna get around to it when summer rolls around.
It's on the list.
It's on the list. It's a long list. Episode 8 coming out this December. There's only one trailer out at the time that we're recording this. Looks pretty good, like as far as you can judge a trailer, but I am already seeing like a lot of similarities that make me think it's going to be like a soft reboot of Empire Strikes Back, which I don't think is the right thing to do. Don't reboot the trilogy that's actually good. If you're going to reboot a trilogy, let's just redo the prequels.
Well, as I've said before, Disney's not exactly about doing the right thing.
It's all come back to Disney, hasn't it? How interesting.
Yeah, I will smash Disney every chance I get.
Yeah, this podcast is going to be renamed to
Frank Hates Disney.
Frank Hates Disney, or Expletive Disney, whatever you want to fill in there. Anyways, so that's kind of a list of some things from the 90s we'd like to see redone. I mean, Episode 1 could be so much better, but let's not start the Star Wars debate right off the bat. That could be a whole nother podcast. We also have some stuff.
If we do a Star Wars debate, though, I already have a guest star in mind for that podcast, and I'm pretty sure you already know who I'm talking about.
Is it Brandon?
No, it's Randy, because he's the only one that doesn't agree with us about the prequels. Our friend Randy, those are his favorite Star Wars movies.
Those are his favorite Star Wars
because he is wrong about so many things.
I'm also going to call out another friend of mine, George Salas. I hope you take some time to listen to this. He likes the Star Wars prequels better because, quote, he says they're more political.
What? I
don't even know what to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, I have one response, but you requested that we keep it a little clean, so I'm just going to keep that in my pocket.
Hey, I mean, say whatever you want. We can always bleep it out later, but
I will find a nice bleep. I swear I will.
find a good bleep. I'm excited to see it. I just think, the Star Wars thing has to happen now. We'll get Randy and George in here, and we'll have a 2-on-2 debate.
Oh, that sounds so fun.
That does sound fun, actually. Yeah, that's a good idea. So we're coming up with more ideas as we're going. I need to write that one down. But to my understanding, we also have a list of things that we absolutely don't want to see touched, Frank.
All right. Should we trade off again, or
Let's
should
trade off.
Okay, all
Let's
right.
hear it. Let's hear it, man.
This will also show my lack of research. I'm gonna skip to number 2 on my list just so we can get this out of the way.
Wait, what was the first one?
I'll come back to it.
Okay.
I'll come back
Sorry,
to one.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I will come back to it. Hey Arnold. Did not want that touched. It was one of my. I know I talked about All Real Monsters a lot, but legit, Hey Arnold was one of my all-time favorites growing up. Such an amazing series. So many good characters. So many good little stories. The grandfather character reminded me a lot of my grandfather, just like the crazy cackling old man. Love it. So I'll be really interested to see how that comes out. I'm not excited that they're bringing it back to life. Some things have to stay dead. And
the thing about Hey Arnold, I feel like you could show it to kids today and it would still be just as relevant. Maybe I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
But are they going to look all millennial? Like they'll be wearing like shirts that are way too long and dovetailed and really tight pants instead of all super 90s
They're going to be like just on their phones the whole time.
Gerald could look exactly the same.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, he really could.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the point I'm getting at. I feel like most of the characters, you could see them again now, and if you never told a kid about Hey Arnold, they could watch it and be like, oh, this is just a new cartoon. They wouldn't realize it's necessarily from the 90s. I don't know. Just one little comment about Hey Arnold. His room is awesome.
Oh, the best room ever.
Every kid's dream room was in Hey Arnold.
Oh,
for sure.
My goodness. So envious of that room.
Flipped out of the wall. Ridiculous.
I mean, and everything was controlled by that remote control that he had. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, definitely a beautiful thing. Oh my gosh. Jealous to this day.
Jelly. So jelly, I'm jam. I'm just gonna keep moving on now. Gonna jump back from number 2 to number 1. Doug, another super 90s, very 90s feel to it. And I feel like you said they were rebooting it. I also can't remember.
No, I said Rocco's Modern Life.
Yeah, I almost put that on my list. That was almost on there, but I didn't want it touched, and I didn't realize we were doing things we didn't want touched until I arrived here at your apartment. So I just flew really fast. So yeah, Doug. Doug is my number 1 pick on that reboot list that I don't want rebooted.
Fun fact: Frank was actually Quail Man this past Halloween, weren't you? Wasn't it this, or was it the one before?
No, it was the most recent Halloween, and I must say I feel like it was a solid Quail Man.
Dude, it was a good Quail Man. I mean, if we don't come up with a thumbnail for this podcast, that's going to be the thumbnail. Just so you know, it's going to be you as Quail Man.
No, and I said earlier, I don't put a lot of work into a lot of things, but that's something that I put some passion into. I worked on that little costume there.
You're really just being disproven all over the place tonight.
Yeah, what are you going to do? I contradict myself all the time. I live my life in tones of gray. There is no black and white unless I'm making racist jokes and comments.
That was strangely poetic.
Yeah, and last on my list, I understand this one I was aware of the reboot because, like I said, we watched it together. But I'm just gonna put it on my wish list because I don't think it shouldn't have been done, and we already discussed the reasons why. But Boy Meets World, I was super upset. I feel like you felt the same way when we found out this was happening, and Michelle was too. We were excited about it. You know what I mean? We all got together to watch it. We got a couple episodes in, and it was just what's going on here?
Yeah, I think part of it that hurt extra was that a ton of the original cast was in it. So that's why, like, Boy Meets World fans were getting excited, which was probably my favorite show from my childhood.
I mean, that's what got me in, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was like seeing Sean, Topanga, Corey again, really cool.
Even Mr. Runs with Squirrels.
Oh yeah, I mean, Runs with Squirrels. Very excited to see Eric again.
Oh yeah.
But and I think Michelle and I, Michelle, my girlfriend, we watched even more of the show than you did.
Oh yeah, I tapped out early.
Yeah, you tapped out early. We kept giving it a chance, and it just didn't redeem itself.
No.
And we were kind of talking, it's like things that are made for a new generation to appeal to a new generation, but at a certain point, it's just not good.
Oh, yeah.
And it just wasn't good. And I think it's canceled now.
Nice.
So, I mean,
Nice.
small miracles, but yeah.
Some wishes do come true, especially when you're not paying attention to what's going on around you.
Yeah, definitely true.
That helps.
So, I'm sorry, that was your third one, though,
That was my
wasn't it?
third. Yeah, I went 2, 1, 3. Boy Meets World was number 3.
Well, I got 3 things for you, Frank, that I don't think should be touched at all from the 90s. Here's the first one, which, to be honest, I'll be shocked if it is ever remade. It's Edward Scissorhands.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm not like a Tim Burton fan by any means.
I am definitely not a Tim Burton fan.
Or a Johnny Depp fan. I mean, at least recently, I think Burton and Johnny Depp, I mean, particularly because they work together so much, they had some good stuff at the beginning, and then like Sweeney Todd is probably where I'm jumping ship. It was
You know
the
what?
last
I actually
good
never
thing.
saw it.
It's good. I mean, I like Stephen Sondheim, the guy who wrote the musical.
Is it very musically? Because I'm a fan of musicals.
I mean, if you haven't seen it, Sweeney Todd was written as a musical.
Yeah, I understand the original.
And the movie,
but did they hit it with the movie?
The movie is like almost a straight adaptation of the play. There's some stuff that's cut out.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
I want to say all the songs are in it. Here's my only problem. If you're gonna watch Sweeney Todd, there's a DVD version of a Broadway recording by George Hearn, and they do this crazy set that kind of like rotates. It's a box, and it's like a big like 3-dimensional box that rotates, and it's all the sets.
Okay.
And it's really cool to watch. And George Hearn kind of Sweeney Todd, it's about this father who gets separated from his daughter, and there's a ton of other stuff involved in. I mean, there's eating people and stuff. That's what everyone knows. It's very dark, and George Hearn kind of like carries that darkness and that anger in his voice. And in the Johnny Depp movie, it's cool to see, Tim Burton's always had that like darker mood thing going on.
Yeah.
Visually, it's pretty cool, but Johnny Depp's voice just isn't powerful enough to like fully convince me that he's Sweeney Todd. The rest of the cast is cool. Alan Rickman.
Oh, gotta love Alan Rickman.
Yeah, pouring
the
out
late,
for my homie.
great Alan Rickman.
Yeah, he's fantastic in that movie. Helena Bonham Carter's super solid. She's just totally crazy, and she's playing a crazy role. Johnny Depp, though, he's not the guy for Sweeney Todd. Second on my list, and I know
Willy Wonka.
You've only seen, oh my gosh, another Tim Burton crossover.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
I'm sorry, I totally got off on a Sweeney Todd tangent. It was about Edward Scissorhands, though.
Yeah, I totally forgot that's what we were talking about.
Me too. Edward Scissorhands, also kind of the same aesthetic, though. It's got Johnny Depp in it. It's got this dark kind of thing, very similar to like what you see in Tim Burton's Batman. Just an all-around good movie. I mean, it's a solid movie. One of his earlier films. It's after Ed Wood and all that, but it's got the right tone to it. It's got a really good story.
Just the right amount of touch of humor.
Yeah, it's got humor. It's got creepiness, and I think if you remake it, it's just not going to come out right. They're going to CGI it and that's what makes the movie so charming is that all these sets are like they really feel alive.
Practical effects for life. I'm so upset that we don't use more practical effects these days. It's just like, oh, not Tim Burton, Jim Henson, where are you now?
Man, I'm just getting so sad. We need to quit mentioning like
dead people,
dead greats, in this thing.
That's what happens. They die just like puppies.
That's true. Oh my gosh, my puppy. Jim Henson, though, yeah, amazing. And that kind of goes a little bit back to Star Wars Episode 1. Know what I'm saying? A big problem with that movie. Both Jim Henson and practical effects. But Edward Scissorhands, yeah, don't do it. You're not gonna do it.
Just leave it alone.
Just leave it alone. It's fine the way it is. Call it a day. Next on my list of do not touches, and I know you're probably totally uninterested in this one, Cowboy Bebop.
Oh yeah, don't care.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just not a big anime guy. I know you showed me that first episode. You guys are super convinced that I was going to get pulled right in. Maybe I need to give it a few more views, a couple more episodes in, but
just 2 quick things on that before I get too off into a Cowboy Bebop tangent. First off, Frank is not an anime fan. For those of you listeners,
very few animes.
Really, just Attack on Titan.
Yeah, it's so brutal.
Paranoia Agent.
Ooh, I forgot about that. That's a good one.
Really cool, kind of creepy anime.
Solid.
Frank hates Dragon Ball Z, which has 90
so
children.
Lame. So lame. Don't get it.
I don't get you.
Not
Cowboy
surprising.
Bebop, though, to me is like the anime like bridge. If you don't like anime, but you're just a fan of good stuff, Cowboy Bebop, you got a pretty strong chance of enjoying it. But this is what I was going to tell you. I think every anime, the rule of anime is 3 episodes.
Okay.
If you get 3 episodes in and you're not into it, bail, because it's not going to change.
I mean, I do like the number 3. That seems like a pretty good rule.
3's
to
a
me.
good number.
I was
1,
actually
2,
excited
3,
that you
1,
gave
2,
me
3.
that you said 3 reboots, and I was like, ooh,
It just seemed
Kismet.
right.
Yeah.
It just seemed right. A list needs to be 3, maybe 5.
Maybe 5.
Not 6 though.
Too many.
Too many. And a weird number. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
Unless
But
you got 3 of them lined up, which I'm down for.
metal. So after this podcast, we're going to be watching the second 2 episodes of Cowboy Bebop, the second and third episode of Cowboy Bebop. See if Frank likes it. Cowboy Bebop, though, it's 26 episodes, which is refreshing. You know, some anime, Dragon Ball Z.
Most
Naruto.
most series, they drag on for way too long.
Yeah, way too long.
That's one of the things that British television has over American television. They know when to quit.
For reals. Except for the in-betweeners. They should have kept that going.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, I'm down too. But Cowboy Bebop was 26 episodes. It felt short. It felt sweet. It had like an overarching story. It's like a space noir thing. Totally awesome. There is a movie that they made after the series. And I mean, I can't discuss it more without spoiling, and I refuse to spoil it for you. But the end of Cowboy Bebop ties the whole thing in a bow. And it's like one of those great endings where, you know, the viewer is like kind of left up to decide, you know, did this happen? Did this happen? They make up the rest of the story for themselves.
Like the Bible.
Oh my gosh. And the movie Cowboy Bebop, it's unclear if it's after the events of the show.
Interesting.
Or if it's like cut somewhere into the show, but ultimately the movie is a 2-hour long episode.
Okay.
And it's totally unconnected, and it kind of just feels like, I mean, it's cool, it's fun to watch, but you know,
it's unnecessary. It's more of an add-on than anything.
Yeah, and a lot of anime movies are like that, to be fair, but if you tried to remake Cowboy Bebop or try to show the cast what they're doing later, what the crew is doing, you know, years from now, you're going to tarnish it. Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone, please. I think most people who've seen the show and enjoy it would agree with me. Maybe. The last one on the list, and to be honest, I would be also just totally dumbfounded if this happened. Pulp Fiction.
Oh.
Or for that matter, like any early Tarantino movie, like Reservoir Dogs, Jackie Brown.
I was just gonna say Jackie Brown would not work as a reboot today.
I just think all of those movies just aren't going to work. I mean, first off, Tarantino kind of already took a lot of stuff from like famous movies, especially Reservoir Dogs, supposed to be based on this Japanese film.
Oh, love Reservoir Dogs so much.
It's awesome, and it's just
except for that scene we always talking about with the 2 focuses and the blur. Oh, so off-putting.
Yeah,
so off-putting.
I don't know enough about film to know what that technique's called, but if you watch Reservoir Dogs, there's a scene after he cuts. Spoiler alert! After Mr. Blonde cuts. If you haven't seen Reservoir Dogs by this point, I mean, just. You know, spoiler alerts have expired.
Meet me outside, we'll fight.
Yeah. He cuts off this cop's ear, and they have this weird shot where the foreground and the background are both in focus at the same time, and there's this like weird line in the middle which is blurry. And
not great.
Every time I see it, it just sticks out to me. I mean, if you're going to remake the movie, remake it exactly how it is, with the same actors, and just fix that one shot, I'll be fine.
Just a slight little touch-up.
That's the only thing. But Pulp Fiction also, same kind of idea. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. You're not.
It's so great. It's so perfect the way it is.
It is perfect. And I think Tarantino would never also let that happen. I feel like he's so kind of controlling over his ideas and stuff like that that he wouldn't let someone else touch his movies.
No, very... I would like to see the rage that Tarantino goes on if something like that happened.
Oh my gosh.
What a crazy, crazy person.
Yeah. Whiny would be the best term for it. But I digress, Frank. That's what I have for my list of 90s do not touches.
Okay. Hands off list.
So I don't know. Is there something else you want to talk about? We were kind of talking about a surprise topic that neither of us knew.
Surprise topic. I actually totally forgot about the surprise topic. If you want to go first, I'm sure I can pull something out of my belly button.
That's a real surprise.
Not a shocker.
So I kind of just have some questions for you. And
I'm excited about these questions.
I really just want to get your feel for this. We've been talking about the 1990s, and you know, I guess we feel a little more connected to it because we are from the 90s. Like we said earlier, you're a 90s baby. I'm a 91 baby. We grew up in the 90s, and As such, we are termed millennials. And millennials is like, that's the response most people give
Yeah, I
to
feel
the
like
term millennial.
it's got a bitter taste on the tongue, that term.
It definitely does. Something that I think really identifies our generation, though, is social media. We're kind of like the first group to ever have that.
Yeah, all the way back to the days of MySpace.
For reals, yeah. We both had MySpaces. They're probably existing somewhere.
I looked mine up like maybe a year or two ago. Shouldn't have done it.
I'm going to look it up so I can laugh at it. I deleted mine. I actually sent a message to MySpace. I was like, hey, look, this URL needs to be deleted.
Now, see, this gentleman, smart.
Yeah.
Makes good decisions.
You know Justin Bieber bought MySpace?
Interesting.
Yeah. In the world's worst investment decision, he bought MySpace like 4 or 5 years ago.
I mean, nobody's ever faulted him or said that he's makes all kinds of good decisions. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Falls more into my realm of decision making.
I want to get your opinion though, Frank, on social media. What do you think is like kind of the impact on the way that we interact face to face?
That's exactly kind of the problem. I feel like we don't interact face to face as much. I'm not a huge fan of social media. Don't use it a lot. If anything, I just Instagram because I can just look at some pictures and top out whenever I feel like it. My Facebook page is still active. I use the Messenger a lot to keep in touch with people when they don't pay their phone bills. Jake, I'm talking to you. His phone actives right now, but we still talk a lot through MySpace. And then of course, like the
through
different,
MySpace? Because you're still on MySpace?
Interesting, nice slip there. No, yeah. I wonder how many active users there are on MySpace still.
15.
15, mostly just pedophiles angry that they're the only ones on there.
Well, it is, and I don't want to derail your thought here, but MySpace is totally music oriented now.
And that was a really good place to find bands. I used to just do random like by genre searches and find like local bands from other places and talk some shit if I needed to.
I liked MySpace better than Facebook, at least at the time when they were both like out.
Okay.
And I remember people like I got in my first year of college and everyone was like, "You need a Facebook." Just do it. And I would like made my mind up in high school.
Very peer pressure-y about the switch to Facebook.
Yeah.
Very peer pressure.
Ugh. So you don't like Facebook. What made you go to Instagram though? What's kind of the, what's the appeal of that? It's another social media you got to keep up with.
Yeah, that's just the thing. I don't keep up with it at all.
Okay.
Yeah. If anything, it's just a good way for me to kill some time while I'm on the turlet. When I just need some quick little pictures or videos to look at. It's become a lot more social media lately. I was a few updates behind, but I recently upgraded my phone from an iPhone 4 to an iPhone 6, as you know.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm back on the Instagrams. Amazing. It looks so beautiful. But yeah, I feel like it's just a lot more simpler. A lot more simple. Wow.
Oof.
Wow.
Oof.
But yeah, if anything, I have like a few groups of friends that we have like DM chats going on where they're just like meme-tastic. Love me a meme. Love me a good meme. Love me a good GIF.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Probably the greatest invention of this generation.
I feel like Facebook's just too whiny, or maybe I just know too many whiny people.
I gotta say, I feel like that is the criticism I hear of Facebook the most.
Mm-hmm.
And Facebook is the social media that I use. I use it pretty frequently. I post every once in a while, and I read what's going on with my buds,
with the peeps.
I do think Facebook, though, and kind of like a critique of that criticism, is that you can make Facebook whatever you really want it to be.
Yeah.
If someone's complaining, you can, I want to see fewer posts from this people.
Yes.
If you want to look at pictures of poops, you can subscribe to a bunch of pages that are my poop looks like blank.
Oh, I bet you there's so many. I might have to get back on.
Yeah, there's got to be tons. There's a page for everything. So, if you want to get super political with it, you can follow a bunch of political pages. That's one thing I did notice, though. During the last presidential election, that was probably like the fiercest
oh my goodness
thing I've ever seen of just people talking.
I mean, just the whole election all around. We were at the Texas Democratic Convention,
yes,
and even in a room full of Democrats during the primaries, we were being screamed at by Hillary supporters. I have no shame in saying that we are Bernie Sanders supporters. I feel like David doesn't feel shame about that either.
Not at all. I mean, I still have the sticker on my car.
Well, yeah,
loud and proud.
Oh, Bernie, feel the burn.
I'm still feeling it. I'm still feeling the burn. And it's kind of, this goes against what you were just saying.
Contradicting.
Because people were contradictory to what you were saying. People, were still talking to our face very rudely, face to
Yelling
face.
even.
Definitely yelling. I mean, this happened for sure.
Oh yeah. It was a thing.
I think part of the internet, part of social media, and why, what you were saying, we don't really know how to talk to each other anymore, is that the anonymity of the internet kind of allows you to talk to people however you want.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would never say things to someone's face. Well, most people wouldn't. I probably would say
probably
things to people's faces that you would on Facebook, but I'm just like too real.
And to a degree, I think at the Texas Democratic Convention, to kind of hop back on this little example, we were meeting delegates from all over the state of Texas. We're from El Paso, Texas. Well, I'm from Victoria, Texas, but I live in El Paso, Texas, and was representing it. The tip of Texas. We got our own time zone. Anyways, we were there, and it's still kind of the level of anonymity. It's like we're seeing these people face to face, but we all
only
know,
for 2 to 3 days, and then never again.
Exactly. We're going to see each other for 2 to 3 days, and then they're going to go back off to their state. And
except for our sweet El Paso delegates, most of them, the Bernie people.
Yeah.
Go Bernie people. Love
Yeah.
you guys. Wish I could see you again soon. Just a little too busy right now.
Yeah. Shout out to the DSA of El Paso.
Woo,
Great group of people.
My clip.
Who are doing way more than us. I mean, they're out like changing the city.
Oh,
We're
so
here
active.
recording a podcast.
So active.
But, to each their own. We have to walk our own paths.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
I've walked this lonely road.
I have one more little question about social media that I kind of want to run by you. And I want to get your idea off this hypothesis that I have. I'm kind of predicting that our generation is going to be the lowest in attendance of high school reunions.
Interesting. Yeah, because everybody's mostly caught up with each other the whole time.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Just a constant flow. It's like it would totally ruin this slideshow or whatever you do to like catch up on everybody. It's like, no, yeah, I like that post.
Exactly. And I feel like, back then the appeal was, I haven't seen
so-and-so
Johnny Lawrence in 40 years, the guy from Karate Kid. And, does he have a kid? What's he doing now? Is he still, beating up, nerds? And
always got to bash the nerds.
He's always got to bash nerds and sweep the legs. So I just feel like it's going to become less and less because I've seen your baby now. Every day I've seen pictures of your baby. I don't want to see pictures of your baby anymore.
Wait, I have a baby?
Not you, but I mean general
okay,
people
I was
on
thinking,
Facebook.
man, I have been shirking some responsibilities lately, man. I need to start paying more attention.
Yeah, that child support's building up.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy, indeed. Not to be cynical, though, because I do have to say, I do like seeing my friends and seeing, where they're at and milestones they've reached. But I feel like the people that I want to be in contact with, and not everyone uses Facebook or something else, but you kind of
feel like it does. It feels like everybody's on Facebook.
It sort of does, right?
Yeah.
And to me, it's kind of creepy, but also very kind of...
voyeuristic?
Well, yeah, I guess that kind of falls under creepy, but kind of comforting.
Is voyeurism creepy? Somebody should have told me.
Definitely. Your parole officer told you that. You totally blew me off with it. That was too much, man. It's kind of comforting to know that like 20 years from now, if people are still using Facebook, which would be insane, but at this point, maybe not that insane.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too shocked.
Yeah, that there's sort of like a chronology of your life.
A timeline, if you will.
A timeline, a wall where all these things are posted, different photos and like, just all these life moments it's basically like an online photo album.
True.
And all your friends share it with you and they can comment on it. And I just think it's kind of interesting in a cool way. But yeah, you do sort of have to get past all the crap that's on social media.
Yeah, so much negativity. I just have enough negativity in my life. I don't need it like on my phone.
Fair enough. I think it's something though that older generations don't understand. And I've talked to some older people who were like kind of getting into Facebook for the first time. They're like, ugh, I just don't like hearing all this political stuff and all this blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, yeah, but at the same time, when you've grown up with it, it feels a little bit different. I feel like anyways.
Yeah, it does feel pretty natural, even though I'm not a user. It's just it's not that far-fetched to me. It's just something that we've always, not always, but like in our young adult to adult lives, even in our teenage years, it was very common for us to just have things like blasted. You know what I mean? You just always know what everybody's thinking all the time.
Oh, definitely. Well, I got at least one more question about social media for you.
Give me that question.
what is going to make you tap out entirely? Or what age are you predicting that you're like, I'm done completely, and I'm going to shut down my Instagram, I'm going to shut down my Facebook, I'm totally out. What would be the circumstances, or like what age would you need to get to? What would happen?
Interesting. Well, I don't ever see myself growing up. I'll be very surprised if that happens. If I'm just like, ooh, I'm an adult, I'm responsible, and I don't have time for childish things. I will always be childish, and you can't make me stop. But I guess if the memes stop being hot fire, I would probably tap out.
If the memes stop being hot fire.
If the memes stop being hot fire, we are millennials. I'm going to own it for a second.
Let's do it.
But yeah, Facebook. I do have a few friends who have just completely deleted their Facebooks. They have gone completely off of it. And I kind of envy them a little bit, but I don't know. I feel like at some point, there's been times where I've needed Facebook, mostly the Messenger app, to get things done that need to get done.
Definitely a big fan.
Yeah, the Messenger is a huge plus. But I don't know. Like, I guess the circumstance would have to be if I couldn't choose what came in and out of my feed. If there were things coming in, like, it's already kind of annoying. You get those sponsored ads and stuff on your feed.
That's true.
It's like, hey, I didn't ask for this. Like, get out of here.
And that didn't used to happen. I mean,
yeah, at the beginning, I don't remember that being a thing.
Yeah, if you're like a little bit younger than us, if you're like, 18 or something, or,
like
early 20s.
7.
Or 7, if you're 7 years old and you've been on Facebook for 2 years, you probably don't know what it was like before the onslaught of paid ads on Facebook.
But also, paid ads have benefited us a little bit when we were promoting the band we used to be in. We did.
Good point.
But also, the best thing we ever did for our band's page was stop being a band. Our likes have just keep coming in now that we are not playing. It's a very strange thing. Very strange thing. If you're out there and you're a band trying to make it on Facebook, just quit. Just quit. It'll help you out a whole bunch.
Great advice. Great life advice. If you're trying to make it, just quit and just see what happens.
That's what I always say.
You're right, though. We would kind of put out these posts and, quick plug, Phantom Kin. Not Phantom Kim.
Kin, K-I-N.
K-I-N, like a family member, Phantom Kin.
Check it out.
Our Facebook is still up. But you work really hard at kind of promoting stuff through Facebook. You're like showing your friends, hey, check out my band, yada, yada, yada. And to
please pay attention to us.
But yeah, please just click
somebody,
on it.
Please listen.
Just put it on the background, please. Wash the dishes to this stuff. I can't totally, now that I'm not in a band and I'm not actively thinking about it, and I see friends put up like, oh, check out my band's new track. I'm guilty of it too. I just don't listen to it sometimes.
Oh, I'll check them out. I'm supportive. When I happen to be on there, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
If somebody's posting a new song, our ex-band member, as a matter of fact, is out promoting his band right now. If you're listening out there, check out Counterbalance and Further North on Bandcamp and social media. Great little bands.
Balance, I think, right?
Is it Counter/Balance? Give them both a shot. Give them both a shot and see what you get up.
Yeah.
Seattle-based bands.
It's got a real cute guitarist with long hair and wearing a plaid shirt most of the time. Solid band, though. And to be fair, I have listened to that. If it's a close friend of mine, I'll check out their band.
All right.
I got another friend, James Sanchez. I feel really bad because we're plugging bands right now. I don't remember his name, the band's name. They're really new, but I've been checking out the stuff they've been posting on social media, which, actually gives me one more little thing about social media that I've noticed. We were kind of promoting a band, and I think we were going about it the wrong way, kind of utilizing social media. We were sort of just, hey, this is my band. We're playing the show at this dingy bar tomorrow night at 9 p.m. No cover. Come check it out. Here's a poster. Or, hey, we just recorded this album. Listen to this track. Mm-hmm. This guy is like posting videos of him and his band, James Sanchez. They're just going around like downtown El Paso having shenanigans.
Okay.
And the video has nothing at all to do with the band.
Oh, the internet loves shenanigans.
The internet loves
shenanigans. Oh my God, we messed up.
We messed up
so hard.
It just seems like, what you really need to do is just worry about getting someone somewhat interested. And if they're, think that you have a personality, think that you're somewhat funny, then maybe they'll go and check out your band.
True that.
The band is called First Year. Austin-based band. Kind of a punk rock kind of thing going on. Very cool. Just looked it up on Facebook. But, I just think now with social media, you have such a presence and such an ability to kind of like showcase your ideas, which sort of comes down to what we're doing right now. Who knows if we're going to use this recording of this podcast?
Who knows? We'll see how terrible it is.
We'll see how bad it is.
Yeah.
No, let's be honest. We'll see how awful it is.
Yeah, this is definitely what I consider a rough take, but we'll see if it goes anywhere.
Could be rough,
even.
could not be rough.
Yeah.
It turns out Godfather filmed all in one take.
Is that a lie? You lie too much.
That's definitely a lie. Unless, I mean, maybe it isn't. We'll have to Google it. Pretty sure it's a lie, though. I mean,
yeah,
I
as I've
made it
said
up right
before,
now.
not big on the research.
I mean, that's kind of my thoughts about social media. I just felt like I wanted to share a couple of these things, especially because if you think about it, social media will be the tool that we're going to use to share this podcast.
True that. I mean, that's how we're going to get the word out. You
Exactly.
know? I might scream at some people on the street. I don't know how much good that will do for us.
Probably not a lot.
Or like even my life. I might find some legal problems if I just shout at people too much, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm going to predict a minimum amount.
Okay.
Is there anything else you wanted to throw, any thoughts or questions you have for me about social media? Anything going on in your head?
Off the top of my dome, not really. There are a few things that I thought of. I know how you feel about them. Like the firing of Bill O'Reilly for once, if we could just rejoice in that a little bit.
So while we're recording this, if we could insert like some fireworks.
Ooh,
bum, bum,
I'll work on that.
Something like that.
I might just like steal the audio from that scene in Sandlot when they're at the 4th of July.
Perfect.
America, sweet America.
Can we do that? I mean, are we going to get slapped?
I mean,
with
if
some kind of, let's just do it. Let's just do it.
We'll see we'll find out what happens on the other
We'll
end.
speed it up a little bit. The algorithms will find it.
There you go.
Bill O'Reilly is awful.
Terrible person.
He's just not a good person. That's really what it gets down to.
He gets paid so much money to not be a good person.
And, you know, I kind of didn't want to get super political in the first take of this thing, but let's just be honest.
I mean, we're 51 minutes in. It's not like we've already dipped our toes into the water. Might as well go for it.
Might as well go for it. I just feel like conservative commentators in particular, whether it be Bill O'Reilly, Tommy Lahren, gross. Thankfully, they're both gone.
Yes.
Glenn Beck. Some of these people just really give inaccurate information. Stuff that's not grounded in fact.
Because there's too many people out there like me who don't put any research into anything.
Back to the research. Well, it's just they're fear mongers. There's no other way to put it.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a big part of the media. It's just fear sells. Fear sells. You know what I mean?
Fear sells for sure. Definitely. And you know, I myself, and this kind of ties back into the millennial thing, I get my news mostly off social media. I am TYT, too strong. I watch Young Turks all the time as my primary news source, but I also keep in mind that they are particularly leaning one way.
Oh, yeah.
And they're very left-leaning, and certain people on the show are, you know, way more extreme than other people on the show. And as soon as you click on the video, you can kind of guess where the video is going to go based on who's on the panel.
Very easy to tell.
I just think, you know, you got to bring yourself a balance, but people like Bill O'Reilly and Tommy Lahren, there is no balance there. And Tommy Lahren attempted to have a balance, saying that she was pro-choice after, you know, saying that women who had abortions were baby murderers, and then she later tries to say she's pro-choice because she's on The View, which is all women and like primarily viewed by women. She didn't want to get like booed. I don't know what her motivation is. Maybe she really is. I don't really care.
Who knows?
But you know, when you swing that far to one extreme and that's all you're watching, it's not going to end up well.
No. Yeah, you can't live your whole life on one side. You gotta take a little bit from the other side. You know, that's a big problem with the bipartisan political system that we have right now. You know what I'm saying? That's why things don't get done and people are so angry.
We need a third party, and a fourth one, and maybe even a fifth one. Let's not get crazy.
I'll go ahead and just say 7. I mean, in some countries they have like 37 political parties, and then they get fun stuff like a dude who calls himself Wolverine and looks like Wolverine running for president. I'd be down for that. I'm not going to vote for him, but that would be super interesting to watch.
I mean, I'd be down. Well, I mean, that's probably what a lot of people said about Donald Trump.
Oh, boy.
Oh, it'd be really fun to watch. It's going to be an entertaining election year.
Oh, we did not take that seriously enough. Okay, I retract my previous statement.
Yeah, thank you. Just
Wolverine, not for president.
little fun fact though. France, also at the time we're recording
I
this,
believe it's pronounced France.
France. They just nominated for their election. I believe the presidential election. I could be wrong. They nominated two people who both not belonging to either of the majority parties.
Did Lady Hitler get in?
It was Lady Hitler, actually.
Oh.
It's Lady Hitler and Shemale Mussolini.
Ooh.
They're the two running in France. And, they just kind of gave up and just went with it. But, sorry, France jokes. It's really refreshing. It's the first time in 60 years that they've had two candidates not part of, a big political system or big political party in that country. And when I read that, I was like, oh, good for you, France. I wish we could do that. But then at the same time, I was like, 60 years?
Wow.
That's nothing compared to the United States.
Yeah, true that. True that.
I honestly feel that's never going to happen here. At least not in the foreseeable future. It would take
something drastic. It would take something very drastic. We kind of started leaning that way, and you saw that a lot of people wanted non-establishment people in. The DNC messed up there. I'm pointing my finger at you, DNC.
Yeah, I'm pointing as well. With both fingers, actually.
Thanks a whole bunch.
I only have two fingers.
I'll let you borrow one of mine. I wasn't using the other one.
Oh, thank you. We're pointing a collective 5 fingers right now.
Yes. What were we talking about? How did we get here?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. We were on social media. Oh, we were talking about conservative commentators.
Oh, that's
Bill
right.
O'Reilly.
Yeah, because I didn't have any questions for you.
Can we get a quick round of applause? I know you're holding your microphone right now because you didn't bring a mic, but let's just...
Unprepared and unresearched.
Yeah. Way to go. Way to go, America. We're proud of you.
We did something right.
Mm-hmm. And still, there's people who just want to see him back, and they're boycotting Fox News now.
I mean, he can just throw himself on YouTube or whatever.
That's true.
It's probably going to happen.
Yeah, calling it right now. That is what's going to happen. He's going to go on social media or YouTube. The tube. Oof. Well, Frank, I don't know how you're feeling.
I feel like it's time for our final segment. I feel like...
I'm down.
Yeah, the timing feels right to me.
It feels good to me, too.
So this segment, I believe we're calling Peeps and Predicts, which is short for predicaments. But like we said before, we are millennials, and we shall continue being millennials.
Yes, indeed. We're going to... Well, actually, we don't have this written on an iPhone or anything. It's written on paper, which seems very unmillennial.
Yeah, still went a little analog. But those papers are in a mason jar glass, which is hot right now.
I didn't even think about that, but that is super millennial.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, God. We're stereotypes.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, we are. It's too late, though. So, Peeps and Predicaments. Why don't you explain this? For us,
Peeps and Predicaments, David... and myself and David's girlfriend, Michelle, which we've mentioned a few times before, have written down some public figures, most of which I believe are actual people, and we've got some fictional characters in there as well. Mm-hmm. And in the other mason jar glass, we have some predicaments, situations, challenges, things for them to face off in. We're going to randomly choose 2 peeps and 1 predict, and we will discuss who comes out on top.
Let's find it out. And, we don't have any kind of setup for this podcast at all. But if we do, we'll definitely plug an email or a Facebook and a separate recording at the end of this.
We'll do something.
We'll addendum this thing. And if you have any ideas, we would love to add them to peeps/predicts.
Please send us peeps. Please send us predicts.
Yeah, but not predict pics. We want just, suggestions written down.
You can DM the predict pics just straight to me.
Excellent.
I'll take them.
So what did you want to draw? Do you want to draw, how should we do? There's 3. We can't, back to the number 3. But how are we going to do this with 2 of us? Do you want to each draw a peep?
Let's each draw a peep,
okay.
And then we'll just take turns drawing predicts. That seems fair.
Here we go. So we're going to do 2 predicts then.
Yeah, let's do 2. Let's do
2 for the same 2 people.
Let's do 2 sets. Oh, you know what? Let's do 2 for the same people. I feel like that's going to be more fun.
All right, let's make it fair. Okay, let's see here. Here's the shaken. Probably didn't come out, but...
well, only time will tell.
Only time will tell.
I'm now choosing my peep out of the peep jar.
I'm going to really laugh if we get Bernie Sanders in here. Let's see what this first one is. Scott Stapp is my person, which I need to be honest, I need a little bit of a refresher. I know he's a vocalist.
Can you guess? Can you guess who he's the vocalist for?
I feel like he's the vocalist for Creed.
Oh, David, you beautiful little boy. Yeah, you know. You just didn't know you knew.
Oh, okay, excellent. What peep did you get?
I got Cenk Uygur, which is somebody who we briefly discussed a little bit, not name by name, but yeah, we talked about TYT a little bit.
That's so hilarious. Just so we can clear this up, though, it is Cenk Uygur.
I will continue to pronounce it as Cenk.
Okay, I totally approve. He'll never watch this or listen to it or whatever. Hopefully he does, though, and it stings him real good.
That'd be kind of cool. I'd like to be yelled at by Cenk.
Just to get old Cenk Uygur in there. And just to be fair, I mean, I appreciate that he's the creator of TYT, and I he does a lot of really cool things.
And an ex right winger, which is awesome.
Which
always
always
to the other
cracks me
side.
up.
That's so cool.
Which, I'm going to be honest, when I was in high school, I was also a Republican for sure. And definitely I lined up with a lot of those ideals.
I feel like you might have told me that before. I just put it out of my mind.
I mean, that's the place that belongs, out of your mind. Cenk, though, is one of the ones who is guilty of sometimes getting a little too riled up.
So riled up. Triggered, if you will.
Definitely triggered. Anyways. Okay, so we got Scott Stapp and Cenk Uygur, and let's see what their predicament is. You can draw the first predicament, Frank, please.
What a gentleman. Let's see what they're going to be facing off in. I'm very excited about this. Hopefully it's something fun. Let's see. What do we got? Oh, you gave me the Peeps jar.
I gave you a Peeps jar. Spoiler alert.
I'll go ahead and leave that one a secret because it was one of my suggestions.
Oh, excellent. And I don't think I wrote either of these. I hope. Did you write both of these?
I did write both of them.
Excellent.
Frank wins. Where's the Peep jar?
That one that says
Peeps. Okay.
So this is predicts.
See. I might have accidentally thrown it in the wrong jar. That's definitely a possibility.
Oops. We are using identical jars, which looking back wasn't a good decision.
I stole them from a place I used to work at. Okay. Frank wins all around. This is also my suggestion for predict. Who would win in a town hall debate in a maximum security prison?
Interesting. I like that you paired. That's just a beautiful pairing. A town hall debate in a prison. I don't know if that's ever happened.
Not that I'm aware of, but like I said, not big on the research.
I just out of the bat, where are you landing on this thing?
Well, I believe the obvious choice would be Cenk, just because he is so heated. But yeah. I feel like Scott Stapp could. I don't know. I feel like he's got some arguments in there somewhere.
I also feel like Cenk is the obvious choice. He's definitely a debater.
So obvious.
He used to be a lawyer, so it definitely makes sense. Here's the only benefit I can show to Scott Stapp. I am assuming that there are more Scott Stapp fans in prison than there are Cenk Uygur fans.
That hadn't occurred to me, but I would have to agree with that point.
I think so.
Probably not a huge selection of prisoners in a maximum security prison are Scott Stapp fans, but I would venture to guess that more of them have heard of Scott Stapp.
Yeah.
Versus Cenk Uygur.
And this goes back to research, which I would highly doubt we could find a percentage of Creed fans who are in maximum security prisons.
That statistic probably doesn't exist.
We can make it exist.
I'll just make one up. I'll say 7. Which is my answer for a lot of things.
7%. This just in, 7% of maximum security prison inmates are Creed fans.
Alternative facts coming at you.
Which I'm learning off my also fake news website. Only 0.1% are TYT fans. So to me, yeah, it makes sense. Scott Stapp is going to have a more...
off the bat, he's already going to have a leg up.
He's going to win the crowd.
Yeah.
And applause can go a long way in an open debate or town hall style meeting. That. Definitely. I also feel like, Cenk might not have the message at a town hall that's going to resonate. Maybe he doesn't have enough personal experience with that kind of group of people, whereas Scott Stapp is going to come with arms wide open.
With arms wide open. Yeah, definitely. I see that's a solid point, but I would say Cenk, being a progressive Democrat, he probably has some points that would hit home with the less fortunates who are in a maximum security prison. You know what I'm saying?
I spoke way too soon. I think you're right. He would totally like be in the plight.
And I would venture, I know not very many personal facts about Scott Stapp, but I would venture to guess he leans a little bit more to the Republican side,
You know
which
what?
love prisons. The Republicans love prisons.
I mean, they're making money off of it.
So much money. All the monies.
Just give me a quick second here, Frank. I'm going to Google.
We're gonna have several seconds.
Is Scott Stapp
I'll allow
a
it.
Democrat? And we're going to find out right now. Wasn't Scott Stapp... Sorry, I'm
A
Googling.
Grand Dragon? Were you going to say a Grand Dragon?
No, it's not what I was going to say.
My
I
bad.
started Googling, is Scott Stapp... Here are the first 3 Google search
Ooh, please
results.
give that to me.
Is Scott Stapp dead? Is Scott Stapp still alive? And is Scott Stapp missing? Those are the questions people need to know about Scott Stapp.
So hot right now.
Wasn't he the one who became broke and had like a severe drug problem?
I think that was MC Hammer.
Oh my gosh.
Are you confusing Scott Stapp and MC Hammer again?
Okay. First off, that happens all the time. Secondly, former Creed, and this is off an article from Mediaite.
Former Creed, former Alter Bridge, former Creed.
Former Creed frontman Scott Stapp has fallen on some seriously hard times.
Nice.
Last month, he released a series of disturbing videos online, which we're going to have to check out,
Oh, yeah.
in which
that's
he
on the
claimed
list.
to be broke and homeless.
Ooh.
Now, after his wife tried to file a 60-day psychiatric hold on the singer, new 911 tapes reveal that he believes himself to be a CIA agent tasked with the assassination of President Barack Obama. I think that answers our question.
Interesting. What an interesting turn of events for Scott Stapp. So
definitely.
he might actually end up in some kind of prison of some sort.
This, when we first drew these, I was like, this is a lame first peeps and predicts, but there are many facets to this argument.
Many facets.
Let's just get a vote in here. What are you thinking? Who's gonna walk away from this situation? The top dog.
So considering all the things that have come to light, I feel like Cenk would bring some pretty well thought out arguments to the table, knowing how crazy Scott Stapp is and how likely there would be some screaming. I'm going to have to go with Scott Stapp for the win, which I've never said before.
I don't think anyone said that before. I have to admit, I'm going to agree with you on this one.
I did not think this is where we were going to end up.
Me either. I mean, we both had the obvious first pick. Deep in my gut, though, and you just always got to trust your gut.
Got
it
to.
Seems like it's going to be Scott Stapp who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, I really feel like in this situation, knowing the things that we know now,
He's just crazy enough to do it.
just crazy enough to pull it off.
Okay, so I got another predict for these two gentlemen.
Okay, David.
Or gentleman and
Homeless
insane
man.
guy. Insane homeless man. Who could also be a gentleman, let's be fair.
I mean, but who's to say that he's not part of like an MK Ultra experiment? You know what I'm saying?
Interesting. This even got deeper now.
Yeah, we might have to get into that later off mic.
Oh, well, definitely off mic. Here's our next predicament. Who's gonna come out on top, Scott Stapp or Cenk Uygur, in surviving longer in the zombie apocalypse?
Interesting. And I'm glad we already know Scott Stapp is a crazy person because he's already living in an apocalyptic kind of situation, being homeless. He's got a little bit of survival skills to him. I also feel like Cenk's a strapping man. You know what I mean? I would not want to get in a fist fight with that man.
That's true. I mean, he almost got in a fight with other awful conservative guy.
Goodness, I wish that would have gone down. That would have been
What's his
such a
name?
good video.
I can't think of his name.
Whitey McWhitepants.
Yeah,
I believe.
It probably is better we can't remember his name. I feel like just saying it might somehow give him more credibility.
Nice. Good point. Solid point.
Let's just say he's always tearing his shirt on his show and he cries and breaks down a lot. He tried to crash the Young Turks live thing at I want to say it was a Republican convention or it was some Trump rally or something. It was
during the election season.
It was during the election season, and he tried to crash their. Oh, it's Mr. Jones, Alex Jones.
Oh, what an interesting man Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Another fearmonger.
And if you guys check out this video of Alex Jones on the Young Turks, if you watch a certain video, there's one where you see Jimmy Dore from TYT spitting in Alex Jones's face.
Nailed him.
Nailed him real good, which, kind of goes against what TYT is always saying, about maybe being less confrontational, but at the same time...
Pretty confrontational spitting in someone's face.
Very confrontational. Alex Jones, though, I think, definitely deserves it.
Some people deserve having spit in their face.
Yeah.
Some people like having spit in their face, I bet.
This is the guy who said Sandy Hook was a cover-up by the government and that it didn't actually happen. So if someone spit in his face, I'm totally cool with that.
So I'm going to interject here a little bit.
Go for it.
I am also a big proponent of false flag operation,
Oh,
conspiracy
gosh.
theories, but I just like
No.
diving deep into a little bit. I think our
Okay.
government's capable of a lot of things that we put past them, but I also think that conspiracy theories are a rabbit hole that it's really easy to fall way too deep in. I do believe Sandy Hook happened. Not too sure about the Boston bombing. Not too sure.
Interesting. Okay, wow. We're definitely, hitting the hot button issues.
I believe that an innocent man was beaten to almost death in prison.
Okay, so are you saying that it literally didn't happen, or
No,
that
I'm
they're
saying,
framing
no,
this guy?
Yeah, I feel like they framed those two brothers, and that's why things happened the way that they
Interesting.
did. Yeah.
I'd have to do more research on it, which I'm just going to quickly point out. It's hilarious that the most research you've done is on conspiracy theories. It
Conspiracy theories, mass shootings. Yeah,
It paints
I'm
you
going
really
to
well.
contradict myself again with the research thing, but I will research the heck out of a good conspiracy theory.
a nice PG-13 labeling there.
Nailed it.
Even PG, maybe. I don't know enough about it to really give an honest opinion. I mean, I would like to, I can't even say that. I would like to think the government's not going to do something terrible, for their
It'd be
benefit.
nice if they didn't, but
It would be nice, but let's just be honest. I remember seeing some stuff about the case, and I definitely remember thinking that one of those brothers, the younger one,
the one who was just beaten in prison.
Tsarnov, I can't remember his last name, and this goes back to research, but it definitely seemed like he was kind of like mentally pushed into it by the older brother, at least that much.
Yeah,
Which-
at least what we have in the major media.
And
So
you
it
see
seems
that a
like.
lot with, especially like serial killer stuff. We watched that one about, also a TYT network show. We watched it on an episode of Murder with Friends, a YouTube series about the
so much
Washington
murder.
snipers who, he kind of recruited this younger, impressionable guy. And that's sort of the same.
Oh yeah, super impressionable.
feel
Fresh off
about
the
it.
boat, not a lot of family to
Yeah.
fall back on.
It just really makes me feel bad for both sides. You know what I mean? But anyways, what do you think, though? Who's going to come out in the zombie apocalypse, Frank?
So yeah, I'm glad you chose this. We're both big zombie fans.
Obviously.
Yeah, do dig on the brains.
Brains.
I feel like Cenk has had a pretty cushy life. I'm just gonna go. Man, I can't believe I'm saying this for a second time in my life within 30 minutes of each other, even less minutes. Scott Stapp again for the win. I feel like this last little, and I mean, he's a CIA agent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's trained to kill the president. He obviously has a training. He's lived on the streets. He's had to kind of scrounge for
The
himself.
streets. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He might be training for the zombie apocalypse right now. I think it might be an intentional thing.
I mean, Cenk is a liberal who lives in Los Angeles. He doesn't seem like he's prepared to deal with the harsh realities of a
He
zombie
sits in hair
apocalypse.
and makeup every day.
Yeah, not to stereotype an entire city of people, but let's just be honest.
I'll do it.
Yeah, Frank will do it. He has no qualms with that.
No qualms.
I just think it's got to be Scott Stapp for the win. It pains me to say it, but it makes the most sense.
Wow.
Wow. We're learning things already just on this first
Learning
this first time through.
experience all around.
Probably shouldn't have whistled into the mic directly, but it was necessary.
Yeah, definitely got a big old spike over here on my end.
All right. Well, at least we both peaked it in this first run through.
I think I'm beating you on the peaks though. If
really?
it is a competition, I am winning.
Well, it's because I have
Or
this
losing?
lovely mic stand.
I did mess up a little bit not bringing a mic stand. That is my fault.
Yeah, unprepared and unresearched. But that's what you're gonna get.
That's me.
That's what you're gonna get
Full on Frank.
all the time. Any other thoughts on this, Franklin, or should we?
I just gotta say I'm totally shocked on where we ended up on these peeps and predicts.
I am too. First off, I just gotta applaud you for putting Scott Stapp in here.
just
Something I
came
would
to
have
me.
thought of. It was brilliant. It was an excellent choice.
I'm glad I did now.
Yeah.
I learned some things.
I wonder like how many of these predicaments that we put in here would Scott Stapp have showed up on top?
Interesting.
Maybe we're not.
We're just
giving
gonna kind of
Creed
have to
enough
keep
credit.
that in the back of our minds as we go through this in the future.
I think Scott Stapp will just be like reigning champ, and we'll just have to compare him to every other group of people.
Yeah, this might change from Peeps and Predicts to who will defeat Scott Stapp.
That sounds catchy right there. Definitely sounds catchier.
Maybe doesn't roll off the tongue, but it comes off eventually.
Just like Creed. Done eventually.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a pretty good stopping point. I also have to urinate pretty intensely.
I've had 2 cups of tea. I'm feeling fine, but I agree with you. It's going to hit me pretty soon. So, if you've checked out this first podcast, if you've checked out this oh my gosh.
Well said, David.
If you've checked out this first podcast.
There you go, boy.
Thank you for sticking all the way to the end. Thank you for listening. This has been the first episode of We've Made a Podcast.
Feedback is super welcomed.
I'm sorry, we made a podcast or we've made a podcast?
We made a podcast.
We made a
I also
podcast.
kind of like we did a podcast.
We did a podcast. Let's settle
I guess
on
we'll
that.
see where we
Well,
we did a podcast.
We did a podcast.
We did it.
We did it. It's done. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please stick around for more if we do more. And yeah, we would definitely appreciate any feedback.
Oh, so much feedback. Bring on the negative comments. I feel like it's a good place to grow. I might come at you super hard, but yeah, we'll see.
All right. Thank you. And have a great day.
Yeah, have a good one. Have several good ones.
Just one.